Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I don't know why I said that so aggressively. Welcome back to my channel. Ignore my squeaky chair in the background. I'm Celestial Tree. I'm an astrologer, intuitive reader, and soul psychologist. And today we are going to be talking about the full moon happening at 24 degrees of Taurus on the 15th of November. So not that long to go. So yes, make sure you are checking your charts for any planets, points, and angles at 20 degrees of fixed signs. So Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius. So before I get started, actually, here is the gentle reminder. If you would like a reading from me, you can book with me at my website at celestialhealingrealm.com. And remember to subscribe to my channel for more spiritual tips and astrology updates. I know I took a long break. But life was lifing, okay? And my life was lifing. And then everybody else's life was lifing. Like, it has been so... Post-eclipse... I feel like post-eclipse season... Usually stuff gets a bit wild around eclipse season, but post-eclipse season was... It's been... Yeah, anyway... It's been crazy. So similarly to the energies that have already been present, this full moon might get a little bit crazy as well. We have Uranus, the planet of sudden changes and unpredictability, 1 degree away from this full moon. So it's very much in the picture. So this could bring us some very unexpected occurrences around the time of this full moon. When Uranus is strongly in the picture, I always like to remind people that Uranus is freedom loving at its core. It's such an interesting energy because it allows us to kind of tear down the structures and the establishments, not only systematically but within our lives that no longer serve us, in order to kind of bring about a greater sense of freedom and authenticity in our lives. So people get scared when they hear like Uranus is in the picture because they're like, I don't know what to expect. I used to get really scared back in the day, a couple of years ago, I say a couple of years ago, like 6 years ago now, when I would like do horoscopes and I'd pull charts and I'd see Uranus, I'd be like, but now not so much, because I'm aware that things happen for us rather than to us, if that makes sense. Which I know sounds a bit wild when I'm saying it, but when you take a higher perspective, you can see that many things, not everything, but many things can be seen through a lens of neutrality. And I guess because we are both logical and emotional creatures, sometimes that neutrality is very difficult. That balance is really difficult to strike. So when something happens, we're like, oh, that's really great, you know, or we're like, oh, this is the worst thing that could have happened. But I think when you take a higher perspective and you kind of let go of that, do you know what I mean? The hyper emotional, even hyper logical in some cases, you kind of be like, okay, so how can I look at this from a balanced perspective? Anyway, so we also have an opposition. I'm like, Uranus, opposition. Hopefully you guys are not too scared of that. It's less of an opposition, more of a T-square. So we've got Mercury over in Sagittarius, and we've got Jupiter down in Gemini, which is where that opposition is, and then we've got Saturn over in Pisces. So what does that mean? There could be some very serious, controversial opinions and conversations flying around at the time of this full moon. Sorry, I hit myself, so I had a bit of a wobble. There could be some discussions that bring our worldview into question. I'm thinking about Mercury in Sagittarius. Things and discussions and opinions and beliefs and ideals that a lot of people are starting to question. And I feel like these questions will kind of become more apparent when Mercury goes retrograde in Sagittarius on the 27th of this month. So here's how it's going to affect each sign. So please do remember to listen to both your rising sign and your sun sign as well. Aries suns and Aries risings. So this full moon in Taurus on the 15th will fall in your second house of income, self-worth and values. So this full moon is happening on your axis of resources, which can kind of be a little bit emotionally intense. I know that a lot of the time we like to kind of be like, oh, I don't really care about money, but a lot of our emotions and our self-worth is tied up with what's in our bank account a lot of the time. So yeah, our earnings and our material possessions, and because of our self-worth being tied up in that sort of thing, in that sort of way, it can kind of make full moons in this area feel a little bit emotionally intense and kind of overwhelming. What I will say, Aries, if you are entering into any conversations around finances, especially if those conversations involve someone or something that you share money with, so a partner or a bank, or a loan company, trying to find the balance between what works for you and what will work for the wider circumstances, so the partner, the bank, etc. You might be tempted to be like, this is mine. Full Aries moon. These assets or these things are under my control, which is fine because your comfort and your stability is very, very important. But try to also take into account the bigger picture as well. The good news is that you could end up paying something off, which is fantastic. But with Uranus so close to this full moon, there could be an unexpected expense or something that comes up suddenly that requires your resources. So try not to overspend around this full moon, as you might need to use those resources for something else. Taurus suns and Taurus risings. So this full moon is happening in your first house of self, meaning the attention is very much going to be on you around the 15th of November. You'll probably be reevaluating your life path, and your life direction. You might be like full winter arc. If you're on TikTok, you know what a winter arc is, but you might be full winter arc mode around this full moon. And you might be making some necessary adjustments to your identity and to your life path, according to some of the revelations that you have around this full moon. So you'll probably be trying to find the balance between moving forward with your personal plans in a way that works for you, but also taking into account the needs of those around you, particularly your close one-on-one relationships. So taking into account those people's needs. Romantic partners, business partners are people that you might be having some really interesting conversations with. And by interesting, I mean potentially quite intense. I try not to sugarcoat things. So with that T-square that I mentioned earlier, that opposition with Mercury in the 8th house, and of 8th house is shared resources, and Jupiter in your second house of income, there could be some necessary conversations around your personal long-term goals and how you realize them with the resources that you have. Yeah. It might even be a case where you're asking, how can I actually acquire the resources I need to be able to fulfill those long-term goals? So it's important that you ask yourself those questions and discuss these revelations with your nearest and dearest, so you can kind of keep them in the loop around this full moon. What I will say is that not every conversation you have around the 15th will be pleasant and easy. But it is necessary to prioritize yourself and let other people know that you are prioritizing yourself around this time, as you should. Gemini suns, and my fellow Gemini risings. This full moon in Taurus will fall in your 12th house of rest, spirituality, and dreams. We also have Uranus right next to this full moon. So if you feel the sudden urge to retreat, take some introspective time away from the world. I know, not like you at all, but this might not even be something you decide. Sometimes you need to, like I always say, you need to rest before the universe makes you rest. And this feels like one of those times where the universe is calling you to kind of slow down and focus on restoring your energy in some way. There's also a chance that because the 12th house rules over the subconscious, the subconscious space, there might even be a very sudden revelation or realization in terms of your subconscious patterns of behavior, your underlying motivations for doing some of the things that you do. That might sound a little bit overwhelming, I know, but it's part of a process of you beginning to understand yourself on a deeper level, and recognize parts of yourself that you might have to let go and release, parts of yourself that aren't necessarily serving your highest good. So lean into that energy is what I would say. If there's anything that you feel like releasing, if there's anything that you feel like writing down, then do so around the time of this full moon. It will be really beneficial. Cancerians, Cancer suns, and Cancer risings. This full moon in Taurus will be in your 11th house of groups, friends, long-term goals, and dreams for the future. Uranus is very much present, very much in the picture with this full moon, and you also have a T-square involving Mercury, Jupiter, and Saturn. So a few things could happen here. There's a strong possibility that you may unexpectedly enter into some serious conversations with friends or with a group of people. I'm gonna be honest, as always. There could be arguments, or it could just be some very serious and necessary conversations with friends about how you've been feeling, work-wise, health-wise, mentally, physically, and just letting these things be known so that you can actually ask for better support when it comes to meeting your needs. I feel like many of you, and I'm thinking about some of my clients here, many of you have been on a journey of really getting deep with yourself, and it's really, really commendable, and I feel like you guys should stop and actually recognize a lot of the progress that you've been making. But with Uranus so close to this full moon, you might feel almost thrust into confronting some of those feelings and expressing them to a group of people or to your nearest and dearest. So take your time around this full moon and make sure that you are made to feel safe enough to express yourself openly and honestly to whoever you need to. Leos, Leo suns and Leo risings. I hope we're doing well. I hope we're having a good time post eclipse season. This full moon in Taurus will happen in your 10th house of career and public reputation, and also status as well. Uranus is very much alive and well in the picture. So, and there's also a T-square as well. So a few things could happen. So this could be a time where career matters kind of come to a head and begin to culminate or peak around this full moon. You could be wrapping up a cycle in your career or leaving a part of your career behind. There could also be some very unexpected conversations had with bosses and those in a position of authority. And these conversations might feel like they're out the blue and kind of be like, well, that was sudden. That was really sudden. But trust me when I say that they are necessary conversations to be had. They might be frustrating. On a more internal level, you could be having some conversations with a group of friends with Mercury over in that 11th house space. You could be talking to your friends or a group of friends about how you're bringing a bit more discipline to the ways in which you navigate your internal processes. So what do I mean by that? What I mean is, since the start of March 2023, you have almost been on like a quest to kind of bring about more discipline, more maturity, more stability to your psychological and mental transformations, because the planet Saturn is hard work, maturity, discipline, has been in your 8th house of trauma and psychological transformations. So with all the work that you've been putting into those areas, understanding your trauma, navigating your mental space with more ease, putting things into practice, tangible things that are beneficial to your healing. I think around this full moon is the time where you'll be a bit more open about those processes with the people around you. So it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be open around the time of this full moon. So kind of lean into that energy, and have those conversations and try and remain open-minded to the solutions and the support that might be presented by your friends around this time. Virgos, Virgo suns and Virgo risings. This full moon is happening in your 9th house of travel, higher learning and beliefs. So you might feel the urge to book a holiday. You might feel the urge to book a holiday. And to be fair, Uranus is quite heavily in the picture, like I was saying before. So you might have the chance to travel unexpectedly anyway. Maybe a friend has like a free ticket to Paris, or somewhere, and you didn't expect it. But it's good to take a break sometimes, I think. I don't know if you would agree as Virgos, but it's good to take a break. You could also be ending a cycle of learning around this time as well. So maybe you were in a class, and that learning cycle is wrapping up for you at the time of this full moon. With this T-square, in the sky, there could be some energies at odds with each other. So home and family, your work and career, you might be trying to kind of balance these energies, and that could be kind of difficult around the time of this full moon. With T-squares, I'll let you in on a little secret. With T-squares, we always kind of look at the third planet in that triangle. So the tip of the T-square, for answers about how we can navigate these energies, the energies that are at odds in the opposition, we look to that third planet. And the third planet for you is Saturn in your 7th house. So what I would suggest is, if you're feeling overwhelmed, a little bit restless, I would encourage you to lean more on your partnerships for support and have some serious conversations about how best your partners can support you with what you're trying to balance, whether that's home and work, whether that's family and career. Opening up and being vulnerable will really do you some good around the time of this full moon. Librans, Libra suns and Libra risings. This full moon in Taurus will occur in your 8th house of intimacy and shared resources and psychological transformations. So with Uranus here as well, there could be an unexpected expense. So it might be the case that you need to pull all your resources together to try and take care of it, which I know is just not ideal at this current moment in time. There might also be an expense that your partner has that requires you, if you have a partner, that requires you to get your money together or use your financial support to help them get out of that that issue. There could also be a sudden resurfacing of an old wound that might need your attention. So something could happen where you are confronted with a mental or psychological wound or issue, and you could be having some serious conversations about that and how best to navigate it. The revelation might be like an internal thing. And you might be tempted to kind of hide away and deal with it on your own. But it's important that you share these things with your nearest and dearest. So slow down, have those conversations, and discuss how better people can support you and make sure that your needs are met as well. I feel like you're naturally very good at putting other people first, but there will be times where you need to make sure that you come first. So do keep that in mind around this full moon. Scorpios, Scorpio suns and Scorpio risings. I hope we're doing well. This full moon in Taurus will be all about how you relate to others, your personal one-on-one relationships, marriage, open enemies, things like that. There could be some unexpected situations in your relationship that need your attention around the time of this full moon. There do seem to be some conversations with your partner that you might need to have in regards to your personal finances, and your finances as a partnership as well. With this T-square that I mentioned earlier, these conversations around resources and the ventures that you are making, the shared goals, the shared ventures that you're making as a partnership might affect how you guys kind of have fun and how you seek pleasure, etc. Things might seem a little bit more serious and a little bit more grounded and mundane. But as humans, we are cyclical beings, you know, so there's going to be times where we can go out there, have fun, live it up, live our best life. And there's also going to be times where we kind of have to hunker down and get to grips with the mundane, boring stuff. So be open, be receptive to these conversations, and try and work together as a unit. If you don't have a partner, if you're single, this could be a time where you feel the sudden urge to jumpstart a connection, or go out on dates. We're getting into the winter cuffing season, so it might feel like you have this, because Uranus is here, it might feel like a sudden urge to get back on the dating scene. In, you know, I would encourage that personally. This full moon is all about release. It's all about letting go in order to build anew and make way for fresher energies. So this is a good time to jump back into the dating scene and see where it takes you. Sagittarians, Sagittarius suns and Sagittarius risings. I hope we're doing well. We have a full moon in Taurus in your 6th house of work and health and day-to-day routines. So with Uranus so strongly in the picture here, there could be some unexpected health challenges that come up. Nothing too crazy, but you might find yourself in need of some rest and recovery around the time of this full moon. There's also a chance that you might have some unexpected work drama. So there could be some my best friend just texted me, so that's why I'm looking over there. So there could be some work gossip that kind of comes to a head or peaks. I live for the drama, and I know you live for the drama, so just be open to it. Let it happen. With Mercury in your sign as well, you could also be having some conversations, quite serious conversations with a partner regarding your home or your family or your living situation. So you could be talking about moving house or moving in together. You might also be having some conversations around starting a family as well, and what that would look like for you. So quite exciting. I think most people would find that exciting. It's very important that you remain your natural open-minded self around this time, and be receptive to the information that is presented to you. Listen to your body and be open about how best you can get your needs met and what those needs are in the first place as well. Capricorn suns and Capricorn risings. This full moon is falling in that 5th house space. So for you guys, the 5th house rules over fun, pleasure, dating, creativity, and also children. So with Uranus here, there could be some unexpected. Full moons are the times of like peaks and culminations and also endings as well. So let me just preface that by saying that. So there could be some unexpected endings in relation to maybe a creative project that you've been working on. The ending might not be what you expected, but it does feel like a sigh of relief that, you know, what you've worked on for so long and what you've worked so hard on, over the last 6 months, it could be longer, is finally done. It's that type of energy. If you're currently seeing someone, not necessarily in a relationship, but if you're engaging in some type of love, romantic affair, or even a situationship, this sort of like might peak or culminate very suddenly. So there is a chance that one of you might decide to be like, I'm kind of done with this, after like a very intense conversation. Or it could be the opposite. It could be like, right, we're ready to kind of take this to the next step. Go for it. So yeah, it's Uranus. When Uranus is present in anything, I'm always like, expect the unexpected. So yeah, there's also a T-square in the sky as well, around the time of this full moon. So there could be some conversations, serious conversations at work or with colleagues. And I'm thinking about Mercury in that 12th house is like what you can't see. It's what's hidden. So I'm thinking about Mercury over in that 12th house space. So these conversations at work or with colleagues might involve a secret or a private matter. So take it easy around this full moon and try to express yourself and be vulnerable if you need to. I know it's kind of tough. As Capricorns, I'm a Capricorn moon, so I know it's kind of tough. But it will be really beneficial and help you kind of work better with the energy of this full moon. Aquarians, Aquarius suns and Aquarius risings. This full moon in Taurus will be happening in your 4th house of home, family and the past. So there could be some unexpected news or unexpected occurrences that happen within your family or happen within your home, that suddenly require your attention in some way. There could also be something unexpected happening in relation to your residence, potentially some issues with the home or with property. And you might be, it might not even be that. It could be that you're sat wondering how you can achieve a better work-life balance around the time of this full moon. So it doesn't have to be like a physical occurrence. It could also be an internal mental process as well. So yeah, making sure that you find a balance between having enough time at home and having enough time for your career. With that T-square that I brought up earlier, Mercury is over in your 11th house of friends, Jupiter is down in your 5th house of fun, and Saturn is in your 2nd house of income. So there might be some intense conversations with your nearest and dearest about how you potentially how you can take some time off, take some rest. Your friends might be like, come out, indulge, get lit, you know? And you're looking at your bank account and you're like, this might not be the right time to go out and do that. Especially if you might require those resources that you have for your home or your family in some way. So what I would say is try not to overextend yourself. Sometimes it's difficult to prioritize things when it feels like everything needs your attention and it needs the same amount of attention. So what I would say is around the 15th, don't overdo it. Deal with what you can when you can. Pisces, my fellow Pisces suns and Pisces risings. This full moon in Taurus will happen in, I was going to say it's really our 3rd house of communication, local travel and siblings. So with Uranus very strongly in this picture, with this full moon, there is a chance that you might have to travel somewhere within your local community unexpectedly. And this might be as a result of some unexpected errands that you kind of have to run. So you might have to, you might have to pop down somewhere to deal with something. You could be emailing, you could be calling people, you could be doing paperwork like crazy around this full moon. It's kind of a busy full moon, I will be honest, and it has that kind of energy where you didn't expect yourself to be busy around this time, but that's how it's ended up turning out, which I know might be annoying. But prioritizing these things will be really beneficial to you in the long run, because as soon as you kind of take care of the mundane, you will be free to live in that Pisces energy and relax and enjoy your downtime, because Lord knows we need it. So if you do feel like you're being pulled in different directions, try to slow down, reorient yourself. So you can plan and prep accordingly to for the influx of stuff that is coming in. You might also hear some unexpected news from a sibling if you have siblings. And you might be wondering or discussing how this news impacts your personal life, both at home and at work as well. So be on the lookout for that too. So that is all I have for you guys today. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you expect for the full moon and how the full moon is affecting you. And yeah, follow me on TikTok and Instagram, and they both should be down the description box if I can say that. And do message me or send me an email if you have any questions. Okay, so happy healing, guys. Bye.